just isn't you.
He came to me after he died. My name's Emma. I've always thought of myself as a normal person, not superstitious, not into ghosts, and definitely not someone who believes in the afterlife. But that changed after my grandmother died. She lived in a small town, and everyone called her the witch. Women would come to her for everything, to bring their husbands back, to remove curses, to heal from things doctors couldn't explain. I used to laugh it off. Just old lady fairy tales, right? But when she passed away, things started to shift. It began with the dreams. I'd see her standing at the end of my bed in a dark room. She'd just stare, eyes wide, not blinking. Then she'd whisper, "You can see now. Be careful who you let in." I'd wake up drenched in sweat, telling myself it was just grief, until the dreams started bleeding into real life. A guy from my college, Alex, died in an accident. He was the kind of person who could make anyone laugh. Nobody could process it. We weren't close, just the kind of people who'd nod at each other at parties. But about a week after his death, I started to feel him. I'd walk home late and swear I heard footsteps behind me, light, cautious, like someone didn't want to be noticed. Every time I turned around, nothing. Then one night, I woke up knowing I wasn't alone. I didn't open my eyes at first. I could just feel it, the air thick and heavy like before a storm. And then I heard it. My name. Emma. That voice. I knew it. Alex. I opened my eyes and he was there, standing by the window, the same expression he had in the photo at his memorial. Except his eyes were empty. I couldn't move, couldn't even breathe. He stepped closer and said quietly, "You can see me. Please, help me leave." And then he was gone. I didn't sleep at all that night. He came back 2 more times after that. Never angry, never trying to hurt me, just asking for help. But I had no idea what to do. Finally, I drove to my grandmother's old house. Everything was exactly how she left it. The dried herbs, the candles, the strange little charms. I found her old notebook on the table. One page explained how to help a lost soul move on. I followed it word for word, lit the candle, whispered the words, and suddenly the whole room breathed out. The air got lighter, and Alex never came back. But now, I see others, in crowds, on the street. Sometimes just a reflection behind me. I know it's not a dream, and I don't tell anyone, because if I did, who would believe me? They just think I've lost my mind.
Unexpected neighbor. I've never believed in the supernatural. Ghosts, curses, the other side, all that stuff was for teenagers and people who scare easily. I'm an engineer, a man of logic. Last fall, I rented this old house just outside the city. The landlord warned me, half joking, that no one ever stays long. I laughed. Old houses creak, they get cold, mice scratching the walls, perfectly rational explanations. Around Halloween, the whole town was decorating their porches with pumpkins and fake cobwebs. I was at home drinking tea, listening to the wind bang against the shutters. Then I heard it, footsteps upstairs, slow, deliberate. I froze. There was no one else in the house. I grabbed a flashlight and went up, empty. The only thing up there was a big, dusty mirror propped against the wall, and on the glass, a small handprint, a child's handprint. I laughed it off. Must have been condensation or my imagination. But after that night, things started to feel off. I'd hear whispering, like someone softly calling my name when I was half asleep. The radio would turn on by itself. Sometimes I'd wake up with the unsettling sense that someone was sitting on the edge of my bed. On Halloween night, I decided to prove to myself that it was all in my head. I set up a camera facing my bed before I went to sleep. The next morning, I checked the footage. There I was, asleep, and at exactly 3 a.m., the moment the clock chimed midnight, something appeared next to me. A girl, translucent, wearing an old-fashioned dress. She stood there staring straight into the camera. Then the footage cut out, exactly 13 seconds missing. When it came back, she was gone. But in the morning, on the mirror across the room, there was writing, smeared like a finger had traced it in the dust. It said, "Don't go." I moved out the next day. When I told the landlord, he just sighed and said, "Oh, so Lena showed up again? Poor kid. She died here 20 years ago." On Halloween night, I don't laugh at ghost stories anymore because sometimes they laugh back.
She called me after she died. My name's Sarah. A year ago, I lost my best friend, Liz. She died in a car crash. It happened instantly. 1 second she was there, and the next, she wasn't. We'd known each other since childhood. She was my person, the one I could call at 3 a.m. to cry, rant, or laugh about nothing. And maybe that's why everything that happened after still feels too real to dismiss as grief. A few days after her funeral, I couldn't sleep. Her name was still pinned to the top of my messages. Her contact still there. Same photo, same emoji. I kept my phone next to me out of habit. Then, at 2:47 a.m., my phone lit up. Incoming call, Liz. I froze. It couldn't be. Her phone was destroyed in the crash. I saw it myself, but the call didn't stop. I just stared at the screen, heart pounding, until it went dark again. A minute later, a message popped up. "You awake?" I swear my blood went cold. I opened the chat. Same number, same profile photo. My fingers were shaking when I typed. "Who is this?" The reply came instantly. "I miss you." "Don't you miss me too?" I dropped the phone and just sat there, frozen, watching the screen flicker. By morning, the contact was gone, deleted, not blocked, just gone. I tried to convince myself it was some sick prank. Maybe someone spoofed her number. Maybe my mind was breaking from the grief. But then came the dreams. Every night I'd see her, standing on the roadside where she died, always with her back to me. I'd call out her name, but she never turned around. Until one night, she did. Her voice sounded far away, like it was being carried through static. "Stop looking for me, Sarah. I'm not here because I want to be. I'm here because you won't let me go." I woke up sobbing. The next day I drove to the crash site. I left flowers, whispered, "You can go now." Since then, no calls, no dreams, nothing. But sometimes late at night, when I scroll through our old photos, my phone screen flickers, just for a second, and it looks like it's showing a notification. Liz is typing.
The house that breathes. I'm an architect. I've spent my whole life building and restoring homes, and I've always believed one thing. Every crack, every creak, every sound in a house has a rational explanation. At least that's what I used to think. Last fall, I was hired to restore an old mansion from the late 1800s. A huge place. Ivy crawling up the walls, windows boarded shut in an X shape, roof half collapsing. The locals avoided it like the plague. An old woman from the neighboring yard told me, "That house doesn't want people inside." I laughed it off. I've heard worse ghost stories at construction sites. The first few days were fine. Just dust, drafts, and the smell of rot and damp wood. But then I started noticing strange things. Every night the doors I closed were cracked open in the morning. And sometimes late at night I'd hear this steady, low sound, coming from inside the walls, like breathing. I assumed it was air pressure or old pipes. I even set up a few motion and sound sensors just to prove it to myself. But the readings didn't show wind or vibrations. They showed pulses, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. On the fourth day, I heard someone whisper my name, soft from the basement. I grabbed my flashlight and went down. That's when I felt real fear for the first time in years. In one corner behind a half-collapsed brick wall, I noticed something, a hidden door. It wasn't in the blueprints. I pulled off the boards and bricks until I could squeeze through. Inside was a narrow room, no windows, just bare walls. Scratches covered the plaster, deep gouges like fingernails, and in the center of the floor, a child's doll, burned and half melted. That night, the house woke up. The floorboards groaned in rhythm with that same awful breathing sound. The air got heavy, thick, hard to inhale. Light bulbs flickered, like the place was alive, exhaling through the wires. And I realized the house wasn't haunted. It was remembering. I ran outside and didn't come back until the next morning. When I brought my coworker to show him what I had found, the hidden door was gone. Just smooth wall, like nothing had ever been there. A few weeks later, I did some digging through old records. Turns out, a century ago, a doctor lived there, one who ran treatments for mentally ill children. The house burned down one night. Everyone inside was declared dead. I don't take restoration jobs on old houses anymore, because some of them still breathe, and sometimes they remember the ones who never left.